Before we start, let me share the method I used to crochet the overall. It's called the work in joined rounds method, and I'll explain it to you later. As you can see, this method helps to keep both pant legs even, with no mismatched lengths. Plus, there are no visible jogs, and the hems are finished beautifully and seamlessly. Normally, we use the work in spiral rounds method, which means crocheting continuously while using a marker to keep track of the first stitch in each round. This method can create jogs, where the next round sits slightly higher than the previous one. If you prefer, you can still use this method for crocheting the overall, as having jogs in crochet is completely normal. Now, let's move on to the work in joined rounds method. This method means you won't crochet continuously. Instead, you'll end each round by making a slip stitch. Then chain one to start the next round. This method eliminates jogs and keeps the rounds even. When joining rounds, you can use the main hook for the slip stitch, but I recommend changing to a smaller hook. Using a smaller hook creates a tighter and almost invisible slip stitch, which helps avoid any confusion with extra stitches later. After making the slip stitch, you'll also use the smaller hook to chain one. Then change back to the main hook to continue crocheting. And for the next round, keep in mind that the first stitch should always be made into the same stitch where you just made the slip stitch. First, let's make a slip knot. But don't tighten this knot, this will count as the first chain. Now, chain 17. I'll change to the smaller hook to join the chain and begin crocheting in the round. You can also use the main hook to join the chain if you prefer. Hold the loop on the hook with your finger. Try to hold the chain straight like this, and make sure it doesn't twist. Insert the hook into the first chain. And make a slip stitch. We've joined the round. And as you work the next round, make sure to keep the chain from twisting. Now, chain one. The smaller hook helps make this slip stitch tight, so it won't confuse you as an extra stitch. Okay, let's change back to the main hook. For round 2, we'll make one single crochet in each chain stitch all the way around. Note that the first single crochet will be made into the first chain where we just made the slip stitch. Place the yarn tail over the hook to hide it while you work. Place a marker in the first stitch to indicate the beginning of the round. Also, we'll place a marker in the bottom loop of the first chain for later use. Make 17 more single crochets to complete the round. Now, we'll change to the smaller hook and join the round with one slip stitch. If you use the spiral round method, please skip this step. Next, chain 1. And change back to the main hook. For round 3, we'll make one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Just to remind you, the first single crochet will go into the stitch where we just made the slip stitch. In round 3, we won't join the round. Instead, we'll cut the yarn. And begin to sew the last stitch. Insert the needle through the first stitch. Then, insert the needle through the back loop of the last stitch. and hide the yarn tail on the wrong side. So, here are the 2 overall legs. And this is the stitch we marked earlier. I'll use the smaller hook to join the 2 legs, but you can also use the main hook if you prefer. Now, let's join the 2 legs. Insert the hook through both marked stitches. Grab the yarn. And chain 1. Then, change back to the main hook. We'll start with the left leg first. Make sure to include the yarn tail to hide it while you work. Place a marker in the first stitch to indicate the beginning of the round. The first leg has 17 stitches left. We'll make 16 more single crochets and leave the last stitch unworked. This is the 18th stitch, which is also the last stitch of the first leg. There's usually a gap at the join between the 2 legs. So for the last stitch of the first leg, I'll crochet the last stitch together with the first stitch. Now, insert the hook into the last stitch. Grab the yarn and pull up a loop. Next, insert the hook into the first stitch. Grab the yarn and pull up another loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. This stitch helps close the joint and prevents any gaps. We've finished the first leg. Now let's move on to the second one. Make 17 single crochets and leave the last stitch unworked. Just like with the first leg, this is the last stitch of the second leg. There's always a gap at the join between the two legs. So we'll crochet the last stitch together with the first stitch. To finish round 4, we'll join the round with one slip stitch. Just a reminder, if you're using the work in spiral rounds method, please skip this step and move on to the next round. Now, chain 1. We've joined the two legs. And we now have a total of 36 stitches. For round 5, we'll work as follows. 5 single crochets. Remember that the first stitch always goes into the same stitch where you just made the slip stitch. We'll continue with one increased stitch. Repeat the sequence 5 more times to complete the round. After completing round 5, we'll have a total of 42 stitches. Now, join the round with one slip stitch. And chain 1. For rounds 6 and 7, we'll make one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Don't forget to join the round if you are using the work in joined rounds method. Then, chain 1 for the next round. I'll catch up with you once we finish these 2 rounds. For round 8, we'll work as follows. 5 single crochets. Followed by one decreased stitch. Repeat the sequence 5 more times to complete the round. After completing round 8, we'll have a total of 36 stitches. We'll join the round with one slip stitch. And chain 1. For round 9, we'll make one single crochet in each stitch all the way around and create a gap for the tail. Use 2 markers to mark the stitches where we'll leave a gap. Mark the 6 stitches where the gap will be left. Make sure the gap is centered on the overalls. Now, make single crochets until you reach the first marker. We'll skip these 6 stitches and chain 6 instead. Okay, this is the second marker. We'll continue by making a single crochet into the stitch behind this marker. Now, complete the round with single crochets. We'll join the round with one slip stitch. And chain 1. For round 10, we'll make one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Make one slip stitch into the first stitch. Cut the yarn and secure the slip stitch tightly. We'll continue using 2 markers to mark 8 stitches for the top part of the overalls. For round 11, we'll work as follows. This is the marked stitch, and we'll start in the stitch next to it on the right side. Insert the hook into the center of the V shape. Grab the yarn and chain 1. Now, insert the hook into this right stitch. Grab the yarn and pull up a loop. Continue to insert the hook into the marked stitch. Grab the yarn and pull up another loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Make 6 more single crochets. This is the second marked stitch. Insert the hook into this stitch. Grab the yarn and pull up a loop. Continue to insert the hook into the next stitch. Grab the yarn and pull up another loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now, chain 1. Turn the piece, and we'll begin crocheting row 12. Make single crochets until the end of the row. Row 13 will repeat the same as row 12. For the strap, chain 8. Feel free to adjust the length to fit your bunny perfectly. Cut the yarn with a tail long enough for sewing later. Attach new yarn for the other strap. Sew the straps in place and weave in all the yarn tails.